there, Beth from scrappingwonders.com, and I have a little bit of a different video for you all today. What I'm doing here is I'm playing with the different types of paper that are meant, I guess you could say, for journaling, as opposed to art journaling, more like for writing. And I just wanted to show you all how the papers hold up in my shop to some mixed media, well, more I would say to watercolor. So what I did was I got all of my shimmers paints out. I haven't had them out in a little while since we moved, and I love my shimmers watercolor paints. They are simply amazing, and they come in these little pots, and some of them have shimmer and some of them don't, but I love them all so very, very much. So the first one I did was on 68 GSM Tomoe River paper, which is supposed to be more for art and art journaling and holding up more than the 52 GSM. Now 68 GSM, it's been a while. I haven't been able to find it. I was able to order a pack. It's a little bit pricey. And I have to say, after playing with it, I personally prefer the 52 GSM Tomoe River paper because it gets more crinkly. Then the one that you just saw me work on was the Rhodia paper, and I was really quite surprised at how well it held up to the watercolor. It did well. There was no pilling of the paper or anything, and so I was impressed with that. Now I'm back to my favorite, my 52 GSM Tomoe paper. And you can see I have a decent amount of water on this paper. And you can also see that I did some art journaling on the front with, that was done with some distress inks. And now I've got watercolor on the back of that. And I'm going to also watercolor the page next to it. And I believe this is where I get a little creative and I'm like, will these mix? And how well were they mixed? So I'm mixing two of my paints and I'm gonna end up with an interesting purple. I was actually really surprised at the color purple that I ended up with. I need the paintbrush that is on my wish list. It's called a mop brush. I need it in my life. I definitely do not have enough water movement here, and that's because the brushes that I'm using are not holding enough water, and so I'm left with not a lot of movement. And then I have this big humongous brush that I thought would work for water movement, and it holds a lot of water, but it was too much. It wasn't right. It wasn't what I needed to happen. It wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, but that's okay. I am really just here playing and testing out the papers so that you all can see what I have to offer in the shop. So again, that one was the 52 GSM Tomoe River paper, and now I'm going to use, this is my 32-pound premium paper that I personally print for you all. So I have dot grid, graph, and lined available in this paper. And this one that I'm using and journaling on, this happens to be a misprint. The graph was too dark. It's not how it comes out in the shop. But I didn't want to waste the paper, so I turned it into a B6 to see if I liked planning in a B6, which I have to say I do. But I am flipping and flopping back and forth between that and my Erin Condren planner, and I'm not sure why. But that's what I'm doing right now. So now I'm coming back to the 68 GSM Tomoe River paper, and I am just adding some water. And again, you see, it's just not enough. I need more movement. But it's not working. So then I'm like, oh, well, let me add it here to the remaining that's there on the paper, and that wasn't working. So then I come back with the big, huge brush again, and it's got lots of water, and I get some movement, but now I'm like, oh, this is too wet. This is not what I wanted. So I'm going to end up mopping most of that up with paper towels here in a minute, which I actually really liked the effect because my paper towels have texture on them, so you get left with this texture, and that was kind of cool. All right, so that small one, that's 68 GSM Tomoe paper. This one is 52 GSM Tomoe River paper, and I offer that in the shop in cream and white. I prefer white, but the cream is actually really pretty. And I'm going to stick my girl here. I cut her out from my Jane Davenport paper pad, and I'm going to stick her on there with my ooh stick. I love this glue stick. If you don't have one, you should get one. I highly recommend them. They're really cool. So now I'm just flipping to show you that there's no bleed through from my watercolors on any of these papers. Again, the 68 GSM is not my favorite, but I will journal through this book. I'm going to get my way through it somehow. Anywho, this is what I offer in my shop. I thank you so much for supporting my shop. Remember, most of these inserts are only $5 in the shop. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.